We can move on. Attorney Phil Reynolds will be telling us about the quasi-judicial proceeding that we're entering into right now.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And good afternoon to members. Good afternoon, Commissioner Kelvington. I haven't seen you yet today. As you are all aware and have heard me say on multiple occasions, issues related to requests for remissions of civil penalty are in fact part of your quasi-judicial authority. And as such, you are required not only to avoid conflicts of interest, but to avoid legally impermissible biases, meaning that you are to make your decision with an open mind, having considered all the information before you, without any preconceived notions or on the basis of additional information that is outside of the record. So you're proceeding solely on the record. We have one item, so Madam Chair, if I may inquire whether anyone knows any reason that they would be prohibited from being able to make a decision based solely on the record, or the need to recuse yourself from the proceedings on that basis. No? Madam Chair, none of the members identified any. But you have one item coming up before you today. It is not scheduled for oral presentation, and as you are all aware, generally staff comes up first to present the item to you and answer any questions you may have regarding the request before you, as well as the recommendation coming before you today.
Before I call the staff, just to make sure this is clear in the record, I just wanted to note what members are here today. Could you introduce yourselves so it's on the record, starting with Commissioner Deerhake?
Thank you. It's a very good suggestion, but I did not exercise
the last
name, but I did write it down in my notes. Marion Deerhake.
Pat Harris.
John McAdams.
Jenny Kelvington.
Thank you very much. And I did want to point out that I was newly appointed as vice chair because Commissioner Keene was not able to make it here today. So I am chairing the meeting in his place, so we can move on with a civil penalty that goes back to violations in 2020. So we'd like to get this moving along. And I think we have somebody from, we have Director Rogers here from the Division of Water Resources, and we also have a member of, I'm not sure, the Raleigh Regional Office or
Water quality permitting.
Water quality permitting.
Yes.
And your name, please?
Sydney Carpenter. So Bob Sledge was unfortunately unable to make it today, so I'm filling in. First time doing this, so I apologize.
No need to apologize, and welcome. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you. All right, well, I will just dive in. The one case that has been brought forward for your attention and decision today is DWR case LV 2020-0345, assessed against the town of Bunn for violations of effluent limits contained in its NPDES permit that occurred during the month of June 2020. Limit violations were identified on the town's discharge monitoring report submitted for that month. A notice of violation was issued for the violations, followed by a civil penalty assessment for violation of the weekly average and monthly average for BOD and ammonia. The town of Bunn requested remission of the civil penalties within the statutory time frame. The request included a waiver to its right to an administrative hearing and its stipulation to the facts in this matter as presented in the assessment document. In its remission request, the town pointed out that the primary means of treatment at the town of Bunn wastewater treatment plant is performed within two similar 150,000 gallon per day package plants operating in parallel. The wastewater treatment plant initially operated as just one of the package plants. The second was constructed less than 10 years ago. When the second package plant was completed, the older plant was then taken offline until financing could be obtained that would cover its rehabilitation. By the summer of 2020, the financing had been secured and the town began removing the accumulated wastewater and rainwater that had accumulated from the old plant and started bleeding that into the flow to the new system. At some point during this process, circumstances associated with the routine flow, the introduction of the waste from the old plant, or some combination of the two, resulted in the wastewater treatment plant not being able to provide treatment sufficient to meet the effluent limits, which led to the violations of the weekly and monthly averages for BOD and ammonia. The town stated that the violations were inadvertent, occurring as they were trying to resolve another issue at the wastewater treatment plant, and noted that the permit monitoring frequencies and its reliance on contract laboratories were factors in its delay in identifying limit exceedances. The town states it reacted promptly to address the noncompliance once it became aware of the situation. In our consideration of the remission request, the Division of Water Resources noted the actions that led to the noncompliance were caused by and completely under the control of the permittee. They could have managed the operation to ensure compliant performance. The point regarding the infrequency of required testing is discounted. Facilities can always perform testing as necessary beyond the permitted minimums. The division has always endorsed good and proper process control testing. In the end, the division did consider the short duration of the noncompliance and the good compliance and enforcement history of the facility and determined remission in the amount of $400, which is 20% of the civil penalty. And this was warranted in this case. The division recommends no further remission in this case beyond what has already been extended to the town. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I can try to answer them.
Thank you very much. And as everybody probably knows, the violator didn't request any kind of oral presentation. So, and I'd just like to open it up for questions and make sure that you understand it's all got to be from the record. Anybody have questions?
Ms. Carpenter, as I'm trying to get a mental grasp on just what happened. The violation has to do with violation of NPDES loading criteria, not with the amount of flow.
It has to do with their permit limits that are in their NPDES permit. So they have,
It has to be BOD and ammonia nitrogen, I believe, right?
yes, for ammonia, nitrogen, and BOD. So they
And
have,
not as 2 gallons per day?
No.
Okay, so as they were adding their own waste from their decommissioned older half, they were streaming that into the incoming flow of raw sewage into the
That's
newer
correct.
part. Okay. And somehow the combination of adding that old stored sewage to this resulted in treatment being insufficient to get to the NPDES values for ammonia, nitrogen, and BOD.
I would say that's correct. That's what they are
Yeah,
citing
as
as
far
the
as we know.
reason.
How long, is it known about how long this discharge continued?
When you look
Or the violation continued, I meant to say?
when you look at their DMR, they do weekly monitoring, of
Okay.
course. So when you look at the week prior for BOD, there is less than 2, so meets the permit limits. Then the week that it happened, the 16th of June, 2020, they had 50.3 milligrams per liter of BOD, which was causing the exceedance, the violation. And then the following week, when they sampled again, it was back down to 2.8. So this seems to be a very short time frame. Something happened at the plant for maybe that week. Between those other 2 sampling points, we're not sure what else could have happened,
Okay.
when exactly it started, when exactly it got repaired, finished, resolved. But it seems like the noncompliance was for a short duration of time.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? You did an excellent job. Thank you for the presentation today. And you really did do a good job. So do we have a motion?
Or perhaps some discussion.
Oh, more discussion. Oh, okay, discussion. Anyone want to discuss this any further?
I am torn between 2 feelings. One is certainly and always to support the staff. These are the pros. These are the people doing good work, and they have assessed these penalties in accordance to the laid out procedures and have remitted 20% of them. And to second guess them, I'm always loath to do. The other, though, force is that this does look like it was a very short incurrence. It was inadvertent. It was immediately addressed, very quickly addressed. And so is any leniency, and further leniency warranted. I am unsure of parts of that and would appreciate hearing any thoughts any of my fellow commissioners have.
Commissioner Deerhake?
So just to put it in perspective, let me ask, just to confirm, the maximum penalty per day is $25,000, is that right?
That's correct.
So we are now talking about $1,600 as opposed to $25,000.
25,000 would be the absolute max. This original penalty was assessed for, I believe, $2,000 and
Yes.
enforcement costs. So with the 20% remission that we gave, we decided on, that brought the total down to 1,600.
Could I interject something also? It's just that it's 25,000 per violation and there were 4 violations.
Good point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you put it into perspective, it is a very small amount. That's the point I was trying to make.
I thank Commissioners Deerhake and Bailey. That helps. Thank you.
Is there further discussion?
Madam Chair, if it's okay, I am ready to move denial of this application for further remission.
Madam Chair, may I ask Commissioner Adams if I may make a one friendly suggestion on that, even though I'm not a member of the committee, I just about raising of the motion?
We like your friendly suggestions.
Good, good. Commissioner McAdams, not Commissioner Keith, he's got his nameplate. Might I suggest that the recommendation be that you accept the staff's proposed or recommendation
Okay.
and associated reduction as your motion, if that's your inclination?
Okay, then I do so move that we accept the staff's recommendation, if that's what it is, of a $400 remittance and do not change that.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Remission, to get the word right.
And all in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. And thank you again for coming
Thank
here
you.
today to present. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. That's all the business for the Group 1 Civil Penalty Remissions Committee. Are there any other comments?
You did an excellent job on short notice, Vice Chair Bailey.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned, and thank you so much.